Here's the truth. The truth is real leadership transformation doesn't start with your calendar. It doesn't start with your team or your goals. Nope. Instead, it starts with your mind. It starts with your mind breaking free from limited beliefs. Hello there. Welcome to Transformation Station Leadership Podcast, the show where we dive deep into the mindset, strategies, and inner evolution of high impact leadership. I'm your host, Adrienne Benton, and today we're talking about something that quietly shapes every decision you make as a leader: our beliefs. And in this episode, the inner shift, breaking free from limiting beliefs in leadership, we're peeling back the layers on the subconscious narratives that keep even the most capable leaders like you and me stuck. Now, whether it's imposter syndrome, fear of failure, and listen, if I'm walking down your lane, just go ahead and raise your hand, or maybe it's the belief that you have to do it all. Listen, in this episode, we are exploring how to identify, challenge, and ultimately shift our inner stories. Because this world, let me tell you, it does not need more perfect leaders. Nope. Instead, it needs real, grounded, resilient ones. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, today, I am absolutely thrilled because we have a guest that is going to, I'm telling you, she is going to share some serious gems. Her name is Constance Curtis. Constance Curtis is a transformational coach and entrepreneur with over 2 decades of experience helping people align with their purpose, break through limiting beliefs, and step into the life and business they are truly meant for. Constance brings a grounded, no fluff approach to transformation, mixing deep mindset work with actionable strategy. So whether it's healing, self-doubt, navigating major life pivots, or finding the courage to pursue a new direction, she helps people like you and like me to remember who we are and what we are here to do. So today, I want to say welcome to our guest, Constance Curtis. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
We're so glad to have you. So we're talking about limited beliefs. Now, I was doing a little bit of research, Constance, and the research was saying that it suggests that a significant portion of high achievers, those high strung leaders, potentially up to 70%, experience imposter syndrome. And that these limiting beliefs that these imposter syndrome high strung leaders are holding on to, that it limits leadership potential. So for our audience, we want to just take a moment to kind of level the playing field. Like when we talk about limiting belief, we're talking about a state of mind. Constance, we're talking about a belief about ourselves that restricts the way we think and restricts the way we're able to lead. So Constance, again, I was doing some research, right? And I found 10 common examples of limiting beliefs that all leaders, whether you are a brand new leader, whether you've been leading for 10 years, or whether you're like turned that corner towards retirement, these are 10 common examples of limiting beliefs that all leaders struggle with. Now, for those of you who are listening on audio, when I read these 10, if you can relate to the limiting beliefs, as in if you've ever thought this, I want you to just raise your hand. Nobody will see you but just raise your hand. And if you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, then I want you to put a 1 in the chat. Let us know that you can relate to these. Okay, here we go. The first common example is, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough to manage this project. Go ahead and put a 1 in the chat if you've ever had that thought that you're not good enough. Another one is, I'm too old, or I'm too young to be a manager. too old for them to really listen to me. I don't have enough time. That's the third one. I don't have enough time to invest in myself. Number 4, I'm not smart enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not the sharpest one in the group, so I can't possibly lead this meeting. Next one, I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough experience for this big career move, or I'll never truly be successful in this industry. Or I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money to enjoy my life. I'll never be one of the best. I'm not in the good old boys or good old girls club. Number 9, I'm not talented enough. I'm not talented enough to get a promotion, or I'll never be a great leader. I truly hope to see the one in the chat, or I know you've been raising your hand because Constance, the truth is we all have had these beliefs from time to time. What do you think about that list there?
Absolutely. I think that list resonates with probably 99% of us that are listening to this podcast now. And that is because we are all human.
Absolutely.
And that is, we all have limiting beliefs, and it's not anything that we have to judge within ourselves or someone else. And just knowing that the awareness around knowing that we have them is extremely powerful.
Absolutely. So, Constance, here's the first question that I would like to be able to ask you. Why do you think so many high functioning leaders struggle silently with imposter syndrome or fear of not being enough?
That's a great question. Well, first, let me just say that success does not silence self-doubt, right? And it's also important to know that our self-worth starts at a very, very young age when we enter into this world. From the time we arrive to about 7 years old, that is when we start to develop our self-worth. So a lot of times we see in childhood that achievements are rewarded, and then children, we think, okay, once I reach, once I achieve this level, then I'm going to feel that worth from my parents or, other people around us. So those high achievers out there that are going, they have more than likely a low self-worth stemmed from their childhood that they just haven't worked through yet.
My goodness, that is so true. I have found over the years, because I also have over 2 decades of leadership experience, and I found over the years that culture many times glorifies composure and decisiveness. So sometimes as leaders, we find ourselves silently carrying doubt and fears because we're afraid to be authentic. We're afraid that if we're authentic, if we admit or acknowledge that there's fear or that there's doubt, somehow we will then be seen as less than or not competent enough to be able to have the respect of being able to lead. But
Absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead, please.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was going to say absolutely. And the programming, we have a lot of programming, societal programming from you have to's and you should to's and you should, right? So we buy into everything that we have to do and we should do to be the best leader. But maybe our intuition, maybe our gut is telling us something different. Maybe our authenticity wants to lead us in a different direction, but we don't feel confident enough to use our authentic voice and, speak up because society's been telling us, no, this is what you have to do. This is what you have to say. This is what you should do. So we're programmed to believe that. And so people will run with that and not trust their inner guidance, their intuition, which is your authenticity.
Absolutely. And to our listeners today, I want to remind you that imposter syndrome is not a sign of low capacity or inability. It often shows up because that means that you're stretching into more complex roles, more responsibility, more visibility, and more courage. So what's needed isn't more external affirmation that you're good enough, but the internal permission that you give yourself to be both capable and human. Capable and human. So, Constance, from your expertise and experience, what are some of the signs that a leader might be operating from a limited mindset, even if they're achieving good results?
That's a great question. So some signs might be needing that external validation from others, right? So if they have a limited belief around their self-worth, I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, they might be, screaming their achievements from the mountaintop. That could be a sign, because they're looking for others to raise them up, go, oh, wow, you're that's incredible that you accomplished all of these achievements. And so they're outsourcing their self-worth. And what they need to do is realize that internally we have everything that we need, but we need to learn to internally resource those needs instead of looking for the needs, from our colleagues, or, from our boss, or from friends or family. So a lot of times it could look like they're loud, a sign that the leader's like really loud. And what I love about thinking about that is, think about all of the founders and leaders that have done incredible things that we actually don't know. Right? We don't know their achievements. And I think that is actually very, very powerful, in a way to look at someone like, wow, they're a great expander, or they're a great person for me to look up to, that has achieved all these things without needing to, get their validation externally. And they are good just knowing themselves that they've accomplished these achievements.
Absolutely. But everything you're saying is definitely spot on. And to our listeners, you're leading, and I want to invite you right now to have a reflective moment. Ask yourself, what are some signs maybe that you can identify and recognize right now where you may be leading with limited belief, where there are some internal controls that are holding you back. Candice gave us some phenomenal examples, and I want to add to that, like control over trust. If you are going to work and in your work environment, you feel impressed that you must control your team as opposed to trusting your team, you may be operating with limited belief. If you are trying to avoid taking any risks, avoid allowing any creativity or any innovation, if you discourage any innovation and you penalize when people make mistakes immediately, you may be operating from a limited belief. If you're struggling with receiving feedback because you don't want anyone to disagree with you, if someone's says something in terms of let's make a change or this is not working, and you immediately get defensive or dismissive, you may be operating with limited beliefs. This is a really important place for us to stop, pause, and reflect. Because when we are honest with ourselves, that's when transformation can take place. So, Candice, talk to our leaders today. How can leaders break free from limiting beliefs that keep us stuck?
Well, first, let me just say, I absolutely love what you just said about the pausing, taking a moment to pause, because that's truly what it is all about, from breaking free from those limiting beliefs. So, take time to slow down and ask yourself, whose voice is this? Because it's a level of consciousness, right? Our mind loves to take over. I'm currently reading Untethered Soul. It's a great book that I recommend if you haven't read it. But there's a part in the book where it talks about, imagine if your mind, everything, all the mean things that you said to yourself, imagine if that was a friend sitting next to you saying all of these things. You would not listen to that friend. Yet we listen to our own mind when it comes to limiting beliefs, telling us we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, and we put up with that. So we need to take a moment to pause, slow down, ask yourself, whose voice is this? And what expectations am I trying to meet? And when we start questioning the rules around us, the programming that we've been through, and we can start to then rewrite our own rules. What feels good for us? What is it that I actually truly believe? So that's kind of the first part of it. And the second part of it is internally. It's doing the inner work. And this is not I'm just going to, do it one time and then I'm going to be fixed. We all have a lot of limiting beliefs that we have to process time and time and time again. So it's something just like, waking up and brushing our teeth. It is a practice to do the inner work that you have to commit to yourself to becoming the very, very best version of yourself. And to step into that alignment, definitely do the inner work every single day.
Fantastic. I love that. And that leads me to, I found the 7-step roadmap to being able to limit these limited beliefs. So number one, it kind of goes to what you were saying, like get honest about the beliefs behind the behavior.
Mm-hmm.
To thine own self be true. Get behind what is honestly behind my feeling as though I can never say no. My feeling as though I'll never be worthy to truly stand up and leave. What is the root cause of that? You got to be honest. And how do we do that? Journal or have a coaching conversation, a mentor conversation with someone who will be honest with you and really hear, listen, and process what is really true. Number two, challenge the narrative with evidence. Is it always true that you're a failure? No. Is it really true that you're not worthy to lead a team? No. Is it really true that you'll never be able to understand all the concepts or be able to stand before a group and speak with clearly with competence? No, it's not true. Everyone can learn and grow. Next. Say the hard thing out loud. Constance, I found that, I create stories in my head. I create stories in my head about what somebody said or somebody thinks. And I find that these stories really are not true because they never come to pass. And yet these stories goes to what you were saying. The voice that we pay attention to the most is our own. And sometimes that stinking thinking, that's what I like to call it, that stinking thinking takes priority. And all of a sudden, we have created this whole narrative about what is not really true.
Mm-hmm.
But when we speak it, there's something about speaking, about saying it out loud, that then your mind begins to process it in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And your mind begins to question, is this really true?
Mm-hmm.
So we invite you to say the hard things out loud.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. One of my favorite questions when your thoughts start to take over and you start to create these stories in your mind, take a pause and ask yourself, do I know with 100% certainty that this is true? And 99.99999% of the time, your answer will be no. And so just recognizing, having awareness around that is extremely powerful, that it's just your mind, making up thoughts and stories that we should not be buying into.
I totally agree with that. Number 4 says redefine success and identity. So now you've said it. Now it's time to ask yourself, like, what do I really want to see? And who do I want to be? So if I want to stop being afraid, I have to redefine what it will take to no longer allow fear to keep me in bondage. Practice small experiments. That means step out and have courage, the courage to try to begin to move forward and overcome. Surround yourself with voices that will give confirmation and affirmation. And then finally, repeat the process. I find that so many times we want it to be a one and done, but it's not. Leadership, life, overcoming, transformation, it's cyclical. You have to keep going. You're going to go round and round, but you have to keep going in order to be able to finally see the results that you want to see. So then, Constance, that takes us to this. How can we And I say we because we're all leaders, right? How can we, as high-driven leaders, get clear on what we truly want, not just what others expect from us?
This is a great question. So the first thing that I, work with my clients on is understanding their values and their deeper desires. So for instance, I can use myself as an example with, building the company that I'm building now. What is, the deeper desire behind wanting to build a really successful company? And the ego and, what others expect is if it's a successful company, then it's, well, you have to be doing, X in revenue and you have to have this many clients. And it's a lot about metrics. But when it comes down to, what it is that I actually like truly want, it's getting quiet with myself and understanding that how I want to connect with clients. So my deeper desires are connection. And when I build this successful company, the deeper desire behind that is financial freedom, ultimate freedom, right? So that is what I truly, truly want. Then from that, knowing the deeper desires and what my values are, I'm able to create what I truly want and not what someone else, thinks I should create.
I love that. I love that. So I'm going to ask you a side question. As
Mhm.
you consider those who you are coaching, how do they respond when you work through this particular mindset with them?
With finding their deeper desires and values, they love
Yes.
it because a lot of times, you know, we have been so programmed to think to reach what is success, right? When we start there, like, what is success? What does that mean to you? And so many of us think, well, it's numbers and metrics, and we have to hit these certain goals. But
Mhm.
that's just simply not true. Success
Mm.
can look so many different things. So when my clients start to get really quiet with themselves and realize, gosh, success is having an abundance of time to spend with my family and friends, to travel the world, to do all of these different things, then we can start to build a life and a career around what they truly want, around what their deeper desires are.
Mm.
And that is extremely, extremely powerful. And a lot of people that don't realize they can have it all. You can
Yeah.
have a successful company and you can travel the world as well. If those are the deeper desires of what you want, it's just really understanding, getting quiet with yourself
Mm.
and seeing what is the deeper desire of the goal? The goal hitting, 100,000 in revenue or 1 million in revenue. Those are great, great goals. But what does
Yes.
that give you? What is
Yes.
it? Why do you want $1 million? What do you do with that? Oh, I want to,
Mm.
give my family experiences. So experiences,
Mm.
that is your deeper desire. That is what we are going to work with. And we are going to build around that
Mm.
value. And then
Mm.
everything, it just feels, so much more fulfilling and rewarding.
Mm. I love that. So it's like the goal is the what. What do I want to achieve? And the vision is the who. Who do I want to become?
Who-
I love
you-
that.
And the deeper desire is the why.
And
So
that's good.
why? So that's the most powerful question actually is why? I
Mhm.
want to buy this new home. Why? Why do you
Mhm.
want this new home?
Mhm.
Well, because I want to build a safe environment, home for my family. So that deeper desire is safety.
I love
And
that.
understanding the why will help you even further achieve those goals. It's extremely powerful understanding that why.
So then tell us, how do I build authentic connections that will support both my personal and professional growth? How do we build this authentic tower, this authentic connection that supports both personal and professional growth?
Yes, I love that. So authentic connections, first of all, has to be a mutually beneficial relationship. So a lot of times we'll meet people that they want something, just from us, and it's depleting. it's exhausting having that person always, I need something from you. So that's not a beneficial relationship. And vice versa. If we want to build an authentic connection with someone else, we don't just always want to, okay, I need this, I need that from you. It needs to be mutually beneficial relationship. So that's like the first thing when it comes to building an authentic connection. The second thing that's really important is to be present. There's so much noise going on in our everyday life that it is very hard to slow down and be present. But when you're building an authentic connection in your personal life or your business life, that is extremely important to listen, not just hear someone, but to actually active listen. If someone tells you something, can you repeat back what they just said? There's so many times where, and this was, like before I started doing all the personal growth work on myself, I would ask someone like, I would be out at a networking event and ask someone their name. And within like a minute, I already forgot their name. It's just one word and I already forgot their name. And that's because I was not present and I was not active listening. It's like it goes in one ear and right out the other. So to build those true, authentic connections, honestly, active listening is the biggest, most important thing that you can do.
I love that. Those of you who are watching and listening right now, again, we want to send you back to your journal or whatever note-taking device you have. Candice has been dropping gems. What have you picked up on today in this episode that, one, you can reflect on, you can ask the deep dive questions, and then two, that you can have a conversation with. You can talk about this with a mentor, with one of your peers, or with your team. So we're going to turn the corner here, and we always like to end with some sort of application. So Candice, what daily mindset or practice has made the biggest difference in how you show up as a leader? And or what would you recommend to those leaders who are listening right now, a daily habit or a mindset practice?
Ooh, I love this. So the habit that has completely changed my life over the past couple of years is definitely meditation. So just again, getting quiet with myself, dropping into silence and really just feeling into my body and being present. So I highly recommend, if you aren't meditating right now, and when I first started, I was like, there's no way I can turn my brain off for 30 minutes, yet alone 1 minute. So I started with just a minute of like, I'm just going to, sit here for a minute and meditate and be silent. And then I worked my way up. So have compassion with yourself, have grace with yourself. You're not going to start out with a 45-minute meditation without letting your mind wander. And if your mind does wander, that's okay.
Yes.
Bring it back, drop back into your body. So meditation has been really, really powerful. A habit that I just started doing that I'm very, very excited about is intuition journaling. So our bodies are extremely powerful. In fact, more powerful than our mind. A lot of times we feel like we have to do something or we should do something because our mind is telling us to do it, but our gut or intuition is telling us something different. But what do? We listen to our mind. We're like, oh, no, we better do this. We have to do this. So we do what our mind tells us to do. And my next level of growth is only listening to my intuition, not my mind. So taking out all of the logical and really feeling into my intuition, feeling into my gut and saying, should I do this? So I'm starting with, even as going on a walk, what street should I turn down next? And just seeing every day, the small decisions that I make with my gut, where that leads to. And then at the end of the day, I journal all of these little wins and all of these little things that I found out from just listening to my intuition. And that is going to build my trust muscle inside. That's going to build my inner knowing. So when my mind starts to take over and say, no, Constance, you should do this, I'm going to go, nope, because my gut is telling me to do this. And I know that my gut is more powerful. My intuition is more powerful. And that is what I'm going to listen to.
I love that. And these are powerful, very simple and practical practices that leaders can put in place today. And those of you who are watching and listening, I want to invite you to go ahead and put in the comment section, what daily mindset practice do you use? Let's continue to grow as a community and build each other up. It's been a joy to have you in this podcast episode today, talking about limited beliefs. And you have truly dropped gems to help free us of these limited beliefs. I do hope in the future, Constance, that we can have you back as a guest again. If there's anyone in our community that would like to stay engaged with you or get more resources, how can our listeners find you?
Absolutely. I'm on Instagram at Constance Curtis. So that's ConstanceCurtis. Follow me on Instagram. I'm always, dropping gems on Instagram. And from there, you can send me a message if you have like a specific question. I absolutely love meeting and chatting with people and helping everyone overcome those limiting beliefs.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much again. And we look forward to continuing to gain clarity with Constance and definitely moving forward, freeing ourselves from these limited beliefs. Well, before we close, we're going to take a moment to just breathe, because what we've explored today, the quiet grip of limiting beliefs, it isn't just a leadership challenge, it's a human one. And the truth is that breaking free doesn't start with doing more. It starts with becoming more honest with yourself. So here's your invitation today. Where in your leadership are you showing up small to stay safe? And who might you become if you fully stopped proving and simply started believing? I want you to reflect on those two questions, write them down, send me a message. As you reflect, send me a comment, a message. I'll read it in an upcoming episode. And more important than sending it to me, build your own community. Share this podcast episode with another leader, one other leader, that you can listen to the conversation between Constance and myself, ask each other the questions, discuss, and keep on building a resilient leadership community. And don't forget to subscribe to the Transformation Station Leadership Podcast, where we're not just talking about leadership, we are truly redefining it from the inside out. So until next time, lead bravely, live honestly, and remember, transformation is not a destination, it's a station that you come back to again and again.